Hello guys, and welcome to the ultimate MySQL crash course for 2021. In this course you are going to learn the most important and interesting parts of MySQL. So this course, if you're getting started with MySQL, this course should be a great match for you. And yeah, this is like a digest of my SQL course. This is just an improved little version of it. So let me go to the next slide. So who is basically this course for? This course is for anyone who wants to learn about databases, how to deal with them, how to create them, and how to manipulate the data. And this course is of course mostly for software developers. Okay, so what you'll actually learn from this course, we are going to look at some good stuff right here from MySQL. You're going to learn the basics of MySQL, how to create databases, how to read, update, create, and delete your information or your data from your database, how to use constraints like primary keys, foreign keys, all that, and how to use alters, how to use clauses like where, order by, group by, so you can manipulate your data as you like, how to use joins, which is kind of advanced in SQL and MySQL or SQL, how to use functions, and so much more. So what's basically we're going to look into some definitions right here. And what's basically a database? A database is nothing more than just a container for your data. Okay, like you can think of anything as a database, any database holder or container. Anything that holds data, you can think of it as a database. It doesn't have to be that huge. Even your mobile phone or your shopping list can be a database. So anything that can hold data, we can call it a database. So we have over here like a lot of variables, a lot of various types of databases, and we are going to look at this one in the next slides. So databases are actually efficient for using for storing data, and of course that depends on your database type and its kind, SQL or no SQL, or all of that. And we are going to look at those in a really inside the course, how to actually use your database for just storing the data the right way. So what's basically the difference between SQL and MySQL? And the SQL is just a standard language for creating databases. SQL stands for structured query language, which is nothing more than just a language that dictates all the SQL databases. So SQL is just a language. Okay, and MySQL is an RDMS, which is a relational database management system. So MySQL is just a kind of database, and SQL is just the language that dictates the roles for the database itself. Okay, so MySQL is just a system, and of course it's just a software that you use to create and manage your databases. So you can actually install a lot of systems to use MySQL. You can install the MySQL software, but in this course we are going to go with the most like widely used and easiest software to work with MySQL, which is XAMPP, which is a tool that has a lot of tools inside it. It's just a bundle of tools. It has like PHP MySQL or PHP MyAdmin, which has MySQL in it, and we are going to work with that one. It just by PHP MyAdmin is just an interface to work and manage databases. So we have like a lot of databases right here. We have MySQL, MySQL Server, CouchDB, PostgreSQL, and all of that. You can notice that we actually have MariaDB, which is just an instantiation of MySQL, which we are going to work with in this course. So it's basically in the PHP My Admin tool. So we also have some definitions right here that's really important, and we are going to work with them throughout the whole course. We have the tables, columns, rows, and cells. So basically all of this image is just a table, and of course the table is the basis of your database. Every database that's ever created, it's just, you know, a bunch of tables with some relationships inside, so with some relationships, between them. So this whole structure, like right here, is a table, and a table just is a bunch of columns and rows and cells. So the column is actually this vertical right here. So we have the ID column, which is the name of the column, and these are the data right here. So this one with the blue color right here, the ID, it's just, you know, it's just a column. And this horizontal red right here, this horizontal row right here, which is of course the row in your tables. Okay, and this one with the green right here, which is hello from post 3, this is only just a symbol cell right here. So these are basically the differences between tables, columns, and rows. So just in a nutshell, this whole structure, you know, we're going to revise that really quickly. So this whole structure right here is a table, and this vertical, you know, ID right here is only a column, and this horizontal one, which intersect, you know, with the column, is only just a row. And this one over here, hello from post 3, this is only just a symbol cell right here. So we have actually another important term right here, which is basically a query. A query is nothing more than just a request you send it to your database. And of course, we are going to work throughout the course with the SQL command line. Of course, I don't want to teach you how to use some buttons and tabs to create stuff. Well, which is actually mostly you will be using those tabs and buttons to create your stuff. But when you're working with your applications, you're actually not gonna just use those buttons and tabs. Those buttons and tabs that you are going to use inside the PHP My Admin just for generic stuff. But I want to teach you how to actually write MySQL the hard way. Sorry, by using, you know, the queries. And a query is nothing more than a request that you send your database to get some specific info. So we can actually, queries can get difficult and complex. The more you make them, the more you use more like keywords in them, the more the complicated query, the complex the query gets. And of course, every time you want to specify something in your database, or you get some complex data, or you get some specific data, your query will be more complex. So this is basically just an example for a query, and this is like the most simplest. This is the most simplest one. Select all from and this is actually should be the table name, not the DB name. And this query right here, which is select all from the table name right here, this will get, you know, all the data from the table right here. So this is basically just a symbol for a query, a symbol sorry, an example for a query. So this is basically it. And now we have another important term, which is CRUD, which stands for create, rate, update, and delete. And it's a common concept in software development. Everything I guess everything that's ever created in an application is nothing more than just a CRUD. You create the data, you allow the user to create it, you read the data, you update it, and you delete it. Or actually you allow your user to do that in some certain points and in others. So this is basically it for this one, and if you have any questions, just let me know. I have Hello ladies and gentlemen, and what's going on? So we are going to start installing our XAMPP server right here, so we can get started with this course. Okay, if you Google XAMPP, a link like this should appear. I'm now on my virtual machine. If this is sound a little confusing to you, okay, yeah, it's kind of weird, but I don't want to install it, uninstall it and then reinstall it back on my main machine. Okay, now we're over here on the Apache server on the apachefriends.org, and we can download right here. You can download any one of these. There is no actual difference between the first three, but you don't want to be downloading the fourth one because this is PHP 8, and we're working on PHP 7 right here. And if you have this question like why don't we work on the 5th version, it's also popular. I would say there are not many differences between the 5th version and the 7th version. Okay, and the 7th version comes with a lot of great features. It's more modern and I like it a lot, so we are going to be working with it. Okay, so now you go ahead and press on download. Okay, this is kind of slow. You can speed up this video if you press on download right here. I'm gonna be working with the 7.4.1, and now it should be downloaded right here. Okay, I don't know why the panel didn't pop up. It should be popping up at your computer right now. Maybe I'm disconnected or anything like that, but if it didn't pop up, you can click right here. Sounds kind of weird. If you click right here, it will get you to the SourceForge, the sourceforge.net, and you can download it right here. Okay, it's really easy and simple to download, just like any other program. Now I have it over here on my network. Of course, this will not be the case for you. Just because I'm on my virtual machine, it should be right here. Okay, so all you have to do is just click on it, and you notice that I have 7.4.2. Okay, there are not any differences. They're not very big differences between 7.4, 7.4, 7.3, or anything like that. They're basically the same thing. So if we click on it, I told you this is going to be kind of slow, so speed it up a little. Okay, I want to install this. Come on. Okay, I don't know if I should stop the recording right now. Okay, this is getting really boring right here. So let me stop it and get back to you. This whole virtual machine thing is okay. Now I got my panel right here. If I click OK and next, and now here is our tools inside our XAMPP. This for the server, we have Apache right here. I cannot uncheck this. You can see right here because this is mandatory. You cannot uncheck it, and of course you need the server. And in the programming languages, you have PHP. Of course, you cannot uncheck it. And in the program languages, of course, you have PHP MyAdmin right there. So, and you have a lot of other tools like MySQL, FileZilla, which is concerning with uploading your files to a host or anything like that. Okay, but I don't like to uncheck any of this. You can go ahead and click next with me, and it will be saved in C file, C folder, okay, or the C drive, and click next. Okay, please select a different folder. Okay, so I actually installed it on my C a while back ago, so I will just go ahead and delete it. Okay, so now if I click next, we'll go ahead and to the next panel right here, and we need to uncheck this, next, and then next. Okay, now this could take a couple of minutes to install, so I will just get back to you in a couple of minutes. So now we're back again after the installation is done or nearly done. So it says right here, do you want to start a control panel now? And I'm going to uncheck this, and this is because I want to start the control panel as an administrator, so it can run in the background every time we start our computer. Okay, so if we run it, if we check this and run it, it will just you will have to run it every time you start your computer, and this is really annoying. We need to run it in the background, without having to run it all over again every time we start our PC. Okay, so I'm going to uncheck this and click on finish, and now if you go to your C drive like this, if you go to your exam, it will be in the C drive. Okay, now if I go over here and start my exam control as an administrator, okay, and now you can choose whatever you want, but I will just go with English. Save. Now it should start up the panel. Come on. Okay, there you go. And now if this is red, you will have to click on it, so it will turn green, and this will be also red if you wanna click on it, so it will be green. Just just install your services, but they're here installed. I don't know how that happened, but it can happen sometime. But now if we go ahead and click on start like this should start the Apache server. Okay, and now it started right there, and if we click on this also the PHP the PHP MyAdmin tool, which is an interface for managing databases, is also run. Here is our ports. Okay, this is 3306, and this one is 8443. Okay, if we go ahead and click on admin, this should trigger a page right here that will open up our page. Okay, this is kind of slow, so I will just stop my video right here, and in the next one we are going to start the server and work on our course. Okay, so sorry for the inconvenience and the slow recording and all of this. I'm really sorry, and in the next one we are going to work on our course. So see you in the next. So now let's get going with this one, and all you have to do is just go here to your Chrome browser or any browser you're working on, and just start typing localhost /php my admin. Okay, so that's it. Click enter and will take us to the main interface. Just takes a little while, and there you go, we're in the interface. Now this could be different for you just because I created some databases right here. You should not have this many databases right on this section, and it can give you like another interface for like a password and a username. Just enter a username if you like and enter a password if you like, but remember to memorize these credentials because you're going to want them later to use them. Okay, so now we're in our interface. I can go ahead and explain every little bit of these sections right here, this left section and this navbar and all of that, but I would rather not to do that and just explain everything in a natural order, if you will, when we get into it, just because you don't actually need to know everything in this PHP My Admin tool to work with it. Okay, just too much for you in one lecture. Okay, so all I'm going to do is just create our database and work with it throughout the course using the command line. And of course I want to teach you SQL, so I will not just go like that, click on some tabs and just create my database with just clicking some buttons and all of that. I want to actually teach you how SQL works and how we can manipulate the data, everything in any way you want. Okay, so I can actually create this database right here just by clicking on create, but I would rather use the SQL right here. Okay, just I can teach you the language. Now I think you can see everything all right, and now we are going to start creating our database. And all you have to do is just create, and normally we are going to type our words right here, the reserved words, because actually create is a reserved words, and you can see it's in a color right there. I don't think I know what that is, but you will see when I explain more. So we are going traditionally these reserved words are normally traditionally in a capitalized way or in a capitalized form. Okay, so we are going to type in data base and our database name, which you can call it whatever you want, and I'm just going to call it test, just a generic name. And you noticed here that we have these two in a color, okay, and this one is in the black color. Okay, because this is of course is our database name. We can set it to whatever database we want. It's not a reserved words, and these two are reserved words. Okay, if you actually type them in a small capital letters way, they are just going to work, but it's a tradition, so just go with it. Okay, so I'm going to end this with a semicolon. I can actually not write it, but I would rather just write it right there, and I'm just going to click on go. So we have a problem here. Yeah, create database. Yeah, we actually have this database name right here, so we cannot just create this database. Okay, let's call it just test db. Okay, just right there, and I click on go, and now we got some information here. It says MySQL returned an empty result of 0, blah 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 blah. It's actually that actually indicates that our our query right here, or our order, just worked just fine. Okay, it actually took this amount of time just to work. Okay, this seconds right here to work. Okay, so we can look our database and it just right here. Okay, so this is how basically you can create a database. Now if I want to use this database, I can go ahead and just write my query, which is use and the name of the database, and I can just write this in this capital 4, the big letters, and I can just use do test db, which is the name of the database, and just click go. And now we're using the database, and actually said that it just worked just fine. Okay, so now if I want to drop this, and this is going to be our next query, it's really simple. All I have to do is just type in drop database and the database name, of course. So if I go ahead and click go, I'll actually have an error. We have an error. Check the manual corresponding. Yeah, of course. Syntax database at one line. Actually, we just forgot a letter right here. Is the letter A. If we press go, and you can see our database is just gone. It was just right under test. Now it's gone. So this is it for the first video, and yeah, see you in the next one. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in this one we are going to talk about tables. Okay, but before we do that, I actually want to explain the use database queries that I did in the last video really quick. Okay, because I did not explain it that well. Okay, so what it actually does, it just opens a database just like that. Okay, oh, we're not actually, yeah, just opens a database just like that one right here. So actually our database, I did not notice that in the last one, because our database did not just had any tables inside it, just like these ones over here. So I'm going to just do that again, use database, and let me just choose the database jobs right here. So when I actually run this, click on go, and we have an error right here. Actually I don't need database right here. I just go with use, and there you go, it just opens up just like that. Let me try another one. Let me choose Laravel, which is actually a database just right here, and let's go. And now this one also opens up just like that. Okay, so now we need to go into tables, but before we do that, just go ahead and create this database with this name right here, or any name you want, but I'm just going to create this one blog right here. I created it before I film this video right here. Okay, so it's just completely empty. So now because I want to go and create a table inside this database, I just should click on it, or I will have an error. Okay, and now I am inside I'm inside this database right here. You can see the base is over here. I'm now in my server, and now I'm now on the database log right here. I'm going to SQL, and now I need to create my tables. So basically a table is just the building block of a database. Any database that actually ever created is just a bunch of tables with some relationships in between them. Okay, and of course every time you create a database or a relationship, your database just gets complicated, and that of course depends on your application or your business. Okay, so creating the database is really easy. It's just an array. If you are familiar with any programming language, which I think you should be if you're you're actually learning SQL. A table is just an array. Okay, so a table is just a bunch of columns. A column is also a building block of a table. Just every table has some columns inside it, and we are going to look into that right now. So to create a table, just go ahead and press create and type in create table, and the table name, let's say users, and of course this one you can choose any database you want, but I would say just make it depends on your business, or depends on what you want with that table. Just to recognize your tables easily every time you look at them. Okay, so now we are going to create some columns inside our table right here. So basically, to create a column, you need the column name. Actually, yeah, okay, so let me create the column name first, and this one is going to be ID, and then the column data type, and we are going to get into data types in the next video. Just think of data types as, just the data types in any programming language. We have in programming language, like let's say PHP has integers, floats, nulls, decimals, and just these simple data types, and SQL has also the same thing. So we are going to get into integer. This one, the ID is going to be integer, and now we need some allocations, which actually the number of places or the number of spaces this column right here is going to occupy inside the column. Okay, let's say this one, let's give it for 2, and of course you can make this anything you want, but I will just don't make it too big or don't make it too small. Just depends on what you want to do with this column. So this one is going to all just 2 numbers, only 2 numbers. Okay, and now we can specify some other attributes or some other qualities to this column. Let's say we can just do not null, we can do auto increment, we can do anything we want right here. So let me see, let me do not null, and of course what this attribute is going to do to do with this column is going to make, so what not null is going to do is actually it's going to verify that this column right here, every time we type in some data into this column, it's going to make sure that this column right here is not going to be null. It will assure that it has a value. Okay, it cannot be empty. This is what not null do. Null actually is also just a data type, which means nothing. Okay, so to create our next column, we need to put this comma right here, and now to our next column, which let's call it user name, and now we can specify the data type right here, and this one's going to be varchar. Okay, a varchar is just a bunch of strings to the username. Of course, we want to set our username to a string, not an integer. Okay, we don't need a number for our username. A varchar is just a bunch of numbers and characters also. Okay, so let me try specify some allocations. Let's say this one is going to be like let's say 20, and an email, also a varchar. An email can be a bunch of numbers and strings. Let me say, let's specify it also 20, and just a password, also a varchar. Let me say, let's specify to 30 right here. Okay, so now we created our table, and with this easy, you can create your own table. And if I click on go, and gives us right here this, you know, this icon right here, which specifies that we actually created our table, and just shows up right here. If I click on it and go ahead and click on structure, and you can see right here that we have our table right there. Okay, so this is basically it for this one, and see you in the next video. So now we've created this table right over here. Now let's go ahead and just show it right here. Okay, so just to show a table, or to show some information about your table, just go ahead and type in DSCS, which of course stands or is short for describe, and the table name, which is users, just like that, and click go. And now you can see over here that we have our columns right here in this table. So the next one is going to be about how to drop a table, and let me just comment this one. And this is how you do a comment in SQL. Yeah, it sounds like CSS, right? Okay, so the next one is going to be how to drop a table. So all you have to do is just type in drop and drop table, and then the table name. Okay, so let me go ahead. We actually have some error right here. The option retrieval actually doesn't need that one. You don't need the word table right here. If we go ahead and click go, and we actually have an error, right? Syntax near at line 3. You have a syntax error. I'm sure it was table right here. Yeah, let's try it out, and there you go. We actually just deleted our table. Actually, it's not deleted. Drop table. Just let me refresh it like that, and yeah, actually it's actually dropped just like that. Okay, so the table, if we actually try, go ahead and run this again, of course it would give us unknown table block.users, because of course the database doesn't have any table right here. So this was basically it for this one, and of course I'm going to see you in the next video. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in this one we are going to talk about how to actually insert data in your table right here. So in the last one I deleted this table. Just go ahead and pause this video and copy this query right here, and just create the table users again. Okay, so let me just remove this, and now we are going to insert data into our users table. So all you have to do is just insert the data. It's really simple. You go insert into, and of course these are reserved words, users, which is the table name, and now open this parentheses right here, and the column, you know, the columns inside this table, which is ID, of course username, email, of course they have to be separated, and the password. Okay, and now values, and another parenthesis right here, and now these are going to be the values that we are going to insert in this right here. I'm guessing we are I don't know. So let me just I'm guessing we are actually forgot one, but you know what, let's just try on and see it. And now we are going to insert in this ID. So everyone right here is going to be inserted in this order, like the first value will go to ID, the second one is going to be username, and the third one is going to be email, and so on and so forth. Okay, So ID is actually an integer, so we have to insert a number, and for a number we don't need we don't need any quotations inside, so we are going to insert just one. And for the username we need the quotations, of course, because it's a varchar, it's a string. And let me call this one user1, and the second one email. Of course we need double quotations right there. And let me call this user1@gmail.com. and for the last one, the password is going to be like user123. Okay, let me end this with a semicolon. And if I go ahead and click on go, you can see right here that we actually inserted the data, and you can see right here one row inserted. And if I go ahead and just open this in a new tab right there, okay, now we can see our data is just right here. Okay, now we inserted just one data, just one row right here. This is right here is called a row. Okay, now we can actually insert some more, just multiple rows at a time. Actually lower this like that, and I can change this to 2, this to 2, right there, 4, and I can duplicate this again. Now let me change this to 3, 3, 3. Let me call this 5, and this one's going to be 4, and of course 4, user 4, and this one let's call it 5, 6. Okay, just like that. So let me try this out. Let's go, and we can see right here that the 3 rows are inserted right now. We go back and click on browse, which will refresh this, and you can see right here this is all there. So this is basically how you insert data right in your database. And yeah, you can see this is how easy this is, and this is it for this one. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in this one we are going to talk about some interesting parts of table, or the topic is just updating and deleting data from the table right here. So we have our table right here. Okay, we filled it with data in the last video. So now we are going to go ahead and update our data. So to update your data, all you need is just type in update, and the table name, which is users, set, which is a reserved keyword, and now we need to specify our columns that we want to update. Okay, set, and we need to update the username, let's say, and equals, and this are here our quotations right here. And now this is the data that we need to insert it inside of our data right here. Let's say user number 4. Okay, now if we leave our query like this and just click on go, this one will update every username that we have over here on this table, which of course isn't the thing that we want. We will specify the actual row that we want to update or delete from, and to do that we need to use the keyword where, which is actually just a condition on your query. Okay, just specify whatever whatever you want from this one, to update, delete, and select. And we are going to see that in the next video. I'm going to talk about where in the next couple of videos. So if I go back and write in where, and I'm going to specify my ID. Now where just waits for a condition right there, ID, which is equals, let's say 4. And of course, if this is an integer, we don't need these quotations right here. So if I end this one like that and go ahead and press go back over here and refresh, and you can see right here our our record just got updated. So this is it for the update. And if you want to update just another column right here, we just updated the user name. Let's say we want to update let's say the email. All you have to do is just write in a comma and write in your column, write that, and equals, and there you go with the quotations, of course, because this is a varchar, it's a string. And let's say user for at, yeah, of course we're just testing some dummy data, nothing, okay, everything just generic. If we go ahead and click on go, now one row is affected, and click on browse. Right here we got our the ID, the row with the ID 4. We have over here the user only has the Yahoo one. Okay, so this is basically it for the update. And let me comment this out so I can provide you with the code. And now to the delete. Okay, and it's really simple. All you have to do is just delete from, and now I forgot an E right there, delete from and the user's table or any table. And we are going to set this one where, of course, we need a condition right there where the ID. Of course, you can choose the username or you can choose the email, but it's just a tradition to use it because it's really just a number, it's and normally the ID will be a unique number. Okay, you can actually make the ID a unique number or a unique column by using the primary keys, which we'll discuss in the next couple of videos. Okay, where's the ID? Let's say equals 4. So we are gonna just delete the ID, the record with the ID 4, or the row with the ID 4. Okay, if we go ahead and click on go, now we refresh this, and now we can see it's gone right there. So we can actually go ahead and delete the third also. Actually, let me choose another column right here. Let me choose the username, which will normally you will not be doing. Just I'm going to assure you that you actually can use any column you want. This was going to be user 3, let's say, and if I go ahead and click on go, you can see right here one row just affected, and here is our query. If I go ahead and click on browse, you can see right here that's now it's gone. So you can see this is really easy and simple. Just do some trainings or some exercises, just try to play with it a little bit, and it will be really simple. So this is it for this one, and see you in the next video. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in this one we are going to talk about data types. Okay, so let me just paste this on. Okay, so we have over here just some definition and some mapping for this lecture. So what's basically data types? As I said earlier, data types are just just an attribute that specifies the type of data of any object. So it basically specifies what data or what data that your column will hold. okay, and we have like let's say four main. Of course we have a ton of them when it comes to SQL. I think it's actually more than programming languages. SQL is just loaded with data types, but you don't, of course you don't need to know all of them. I just covered like the main four ones. We have right here the numeric types, and it's going to be, this one is integer and decimals. Decimal of course is a pointed number, okay, and an integer is just, you know, like 1 2 3 whatever, and decimals are just float numbers like 1.2 3.4. okay, these are just some dummy examples, okay. So, and these are just four numeric data types right here. So the next one is the data, and the data has a lot of, you know, a lot of types like this. The most important ones are data time, which will just hold the data and the time at the same time, and the date, which will hold the date, and time, which will hold just the time, okay. And the last one, the strings, you know, or the characters, which is varchar and text. Varchar, you know, it's smaller than text. It only holds some certain, you know, some certain number of values, but text is actually unlimited, and it's actually bigger than huge. It's bigger than var character, like with a lot of values. It holds a lot of values. Let's say if you want to actually create a blog post, it will set the title as a varchar and the body as a text. This is just a, you know, a test case for the varchar and the text. So the last one we have over here is null, and of course null is only a value that actually has no value. So when we set some cell in our, you know, some, let me go back over here to my table. When we, like, if we try and change this one to nothing, this value right over here will be null. So null is basically a value that you know, a cell that has no value, okay. So this basically it, the four main characters, and I showed you in the last, you know, in the last videos how to create a table, and I used like some of these, and of course I'm creating some tables in this course, and I will show you how to use some of them along the way. So this is basically data types are, just think of them just like the programming, like any programming language, okay. It's really similar. Okay, so this is it for this one, and see you in the next video. Hello guys, and what's going on? So this video is also theoretical like the last one, and here we have operators, okay. So basically an operator is just a reserved word or character that's used primarily behind or in a where clause. So I've talked, like I've used this where clause in the delete and update video, and we, of course, we are going to use it a lot just in the select statement in the next videos. So here we have like some, you know, the main three operators in SQL, and yes, as you might have guessed, these ones are also in any programming language. So we have the arithmetical operators right here. We have the addition, you know, division, subtraction, division, multiplication, and the modulus sign. And we have the comparison operators. We have equal, not equal, greater than, and less than. And we have the logical operators and or. So this is basically what I had to offer. I'm letting you know that SQL also have some operators, but we are going to do, you know, a lot of examples in the next couple of videos, and this one is just theoretical. Okay, so of course the arithmetical operators just do math, and the comparisons do some comparison, some comparison operations, and the SQL logical operators just do some logical operations. So this should be it. And yeah, I know this one sounds like really vague, and this video sounds, doesn't sound really that important, but we are going to do a lot of examples on these three in the next couple of videos. So this is it for this one. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in this one we are going to talk about probably one of the most interesting and important things in MySQL, which is constraints. Okay, so what are basically constraints? A constraint is just some rule that dictates your tables or your columns in your database, and of course it ensures some like reliability and security in your database. Okay, it just makes anything you want your database works the same way you want it to work. Okay, so we have some constraints like not null, like I showed you this one before, and we have primary keys and foreign keys, and we have a lot of stuff. But in this section, sorry, I'm going to show you primary keys and foreign keys, which are exactly, which are basically the most important ones. So we are going to start in this video with primary keys. So what is basically a primary key? A primary key is just a constraint that identifies a certain column as a unique value. So basically sometimes you need to make one column in your table as unique and identifiable as a unique column. And basically why you might want to do this, let's say you're trying to extract some data from your database, and you have like some user two users or more that have the same name. So basically when you try and select some data from your database, SQL will get confused, and maybe it would just pull the first person with that name you try to get, and it will ignore, let's say, the rest of these people that have the same name. So this is basically why you might use primary keys. And of course primary keys, when a column is identified like a primary key, first of all it cannot be null, and second of all it's unique, and that means you cannot have some records in that column with the same value. And mostly, and of course, a column only has like one primary key in it, so you cannot create two primary keys in one column. Okay, so let me just get started with creating primary keys. And of course primary keys are like, I would say 99% of the time you are going to create them on your ID. Okay, so normally you won't use them on your username or anything like that. No, the ID is actually the conventional one in like most applications I've created and I have worked with. So let's get started, and of course we are going to create a new table for this one. And in the next videos, the next couple of videos, I will show you how to actually set this ID right over here as a primary key, despite the fact that we actually created this table a while ago. So let's get back right over here and create our table. So this should be really easy for you. You just create the table before, and we are going to name this one logs. Okay, let's say we will have an ID which is going to be the primary key. We will make it an integer. Let's say this will be, let's call it let's say 2. Only 2 is good, and we'll keep it not null. And the second one is going to be the title, and let's say this will be var car. Let's say this will be 20, and the next one is going to be the body, and let's give it a data type of text. Okay, so basically this is the structure of our table right here. So we can actually go ahead and create our primary key right now. Okay, so now we can go ahead under this and type in primary key, and here we have our parentheses like this, and now we can set our primary key right over here. And as I've told you before, you can choose anyone you like, but normally you will make it on the ID column right here. So actually, yeah, we need a comma right over here, and this should do the trick. So let me try on, and you can see right here that we actually created our table with the primary key. Let me just copy this, and now if I refresh this, you can see that over here we have our blocks table. Let me just pull it right here, and you can see if I go back now to the structure, and you can see right now that we have this little icon right here. If you just hover over it, it will give you this primary note right here. If you go now right under the indexes, now we have this primary key right here on the ID column right over here. So this is actually it for the primary key. It's really important in MySQL or any SQL database. You should be aware of it, and you should know it. So this is basically it for this video, and see you in the next one. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in this one we are going to talk about foreign keys. Okay, basically a foreign key is just a constraint that actually it's just a key in your table that points out to some primary key in another table. So why we basically need some column which is a foreign key that points to another primary key in another table. Let's just make use of our test case right here. We have right here the users table and the blogs table. Now we actually what we need to do is just let's say we have to get some users and their blogs from this table. All we need to do right now is just we need a relationship between the two tables right here. So this is basically a foreign key is just a relationship or a link between two tables, and of course you need to use a join to get that piece of data that you want from those tables right here. Okay, so this is basically a foreign key. It's just a link, a link between two tables. Okay, and to make a foreign key need to point to some other column in another table. Let's say the users table. This column should be a primary key. So a foreign key will just point out to a primary key right here. Okay, so if we actually need to create some example, and I will use alters, and I will talk about alters in the next video. Alters is just a way of of adding some stuff to your tables, or removing or updating some stuff to your tables and columns. So you have a lot of functions in the MySQL database. Okay, So basically right now, if I need to create my foreign key, I need to find some primary key in the users, and we don't actually have a primary key right here. You can see that we cannot actually update any of this data right here. But if you go right here to the to the blogs table, actually we don't have any data just to manipulate it yet. But if we created some data right here, we will be able to edit or update this data from the cells itself. So if we go over here, and I will show you how to create a primary key without using using SQL or using the code. And of course, you will be doing this if you're building some big applications. You won't be using SQL to create primary and foreign keys that much, just because you want to create things easier and faster. But of course, this is a MySQL course. I will not show you the tabs just for this one because we need it just right here. If we go to the structure, and now I need to go ahead and right here to more, and I will set this one to a primary key, and of course it's done right here. And now we can see our icon in the users table. If we now go to browse, we can actually just edit these as much as we want, or we can edit just really easy. Okay, so if I go back right over here, now I have a primary key in the users table, and now I need to create some column in the blogs table that will link to the users table, and I will actually just create this manually. Of course, let's go to the structure. From here I can add now one table after the body, and if I go create and go, now I can use this right here, can specify it as a user ID right here. Let's keep it an integer. A primary key and a foreign key should have the same let's say the same data type right here. And as my primary key in the users table right here is an integer, it has only 2 in the length or the values. And now if I click on save, and now it's added to the blogs, now it's over here. Now if I go back to my SQL command line right here, now I need to use alter just to create a foreign key. So I go ahead and type in alter table, and of course it's going to be the blogs table because this is where my foreign key will be. Will table blogs. Now add foreign GN key, and now the name. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, of course. Now we need this column name, user ID, and now references. It's kind of a big word to write. References. We kind of have some problem right here. Missing comma before start a new alter operation. That's a little weird. Okay, we'll just forget it for now. References, of course, the users table, which is going to be the ID right here. If we now go ahead and click on go, we'll have an error. You have an error, you should check the manual correspondent. Yeah, of course. Syntax to use near key right here, references, users ID. So let's go back and just see what's going on. Maybe we do not have this one. Oh, we still have an error. Yeah, this might be right here. Missing comma. So let me go back to this one. So with just it was just a simple dummy writing mistakes. I actually did this one wrong. So foreign should be like that. You guys, you might have know it by then. And now I think I have some other mistake. Now it's done just like that. Okay, so this should do the trick. If I go now and go, now you can see that our foreign key is just done. So now if I go to the structure of the blocks table, you can see that we have this little key icon right here, okay, which is a different color from the primary. Now it's just an index which refers to a to a foreign key to this one right now. So this should be it. I guess the idea is now just crystal clear. A foreign key is basically a link to a primary key in another table. And of course we will utilize all of this when we will just do a relationship between the two of them and get some data with joins, and this will be in the next couple of videos. So this should be it for this one, and see you in the next video. Hello guys, and what's going on? So this one should be really easy and simple, and this is about functions. Functions are basically ready-made methods that do some certain stuff to our database, or just extract some piece of data that we want. Okay, sometimes you need to use these methods, just like some examples, like you want to get the submission of something, the average, the minimum value of some certain column, the maximum value, the count, the number of the rows of this column. So these are basically functions, just certain methods to do some certain stuff into our database. Okay, so we have obviously we have a lot of them, so we are going to just discuss some basic ones. And here we go. Well, actually this is the first time we will use let's say the second or the third time that we will use our select statement. And select basically grabs some piece of data from your database, and we will talk about it in the next videos. Okay, so we will take it like here, like briefly here, but I'm going to talk about it with a lot of details in the next couple of videos. So let's get going. And this one, let me select, and the function we want to use, let's use sum. Of course you can write in all capital or in all small, and the parentheses. And now we want to specify the columns that we want to operate on this submission. And of course submission is just going to work on integer values or numeric values, or numeric values, sorry. So we are going to choose IDs from, and now we are going to specify our table right here. Let's say the blogs table, and now all this do, it's going to give us the submission of the IDs of the ID column in the blogs column. So if we actually go ahead and click on go, you can see right here is that's actually null, because we did not insert any data in our blogs right here. So let me just go back to this one, and we are going to choose our, let's say, our users table. Okay, so if I click on go, now we have like 3, because of course we have 1 and 2 right here in the ID rows. Okay, so if we actually now use the average, EVG, click on go, you can see now that we have 1.5, which is of course 3 division 2. Okay, this is the average of something. So this is basically basic math stuff. So if we try now count, this one will count the number of rows in the ID right here. And of course count, we can use it for anything, numeric string stuff, any column we want. So let me just go for, let's say the title and the blogs. We need to change this. We go right here, click on go, and of course it's 0 because we did not actually have anything right here in this blogs table. Okay, if we go back and change this, let's say the email is the users, click on go, and see right here it gives us so all we discussed right now, the submission, average, and count. Now we can add to this the minimum and the maximum, and as you may have guessed, the minimum will get the minimum value in the in the numeric value in the numeric column right here. So we have to set this to ID from this one. This one will get the numeric value. Okay, the list, the list number or the smallest number in the IDs, and of course it's going to be 1 right here. Here is the value, and the maximum will just get the maximum number in this one right here. We actually click on go. Now it gives us of course we have only 1 and 2 records right here. So let me just try this on let's say password. Let's try it on some let's try it on some string column. Click on go. You can see right here actually, yeah, we did not write this here. We did not write it the right way. If we now click on go, you can see right here it gives us the least number of or the maximum the maximum number of characters in the password column right here, which is this one. Of course this only has like 7 characters and numbers, and this one has 8 characters and numbers. So it gives us the second one right over here. So you can play around with those. Of course there is a lot of them, but these are the most basic ones. You are gonna use these a lot in your coding projects, okay, or in your database. So this should be it for this one, and see you in the next video. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in this one we are going to discuss the select query. So as you might know from the last couple of videos, we used the select query to select some data from our database or from our tables. So this is basically what the select statement or the select query is used for. So you use it to select data from your database, and of course it has a lot of options inside it, and it's a controversial keyword in MySQL, okay, because of course it can make your queries more easier or more simpler or complicated as much as you want it, and it can make your application slow or fast. Just it depends on how you actually use it and how you make use of it. So let me just paste this in just for more clear explanations. You can select asterisk or this star right here, and this means it will select all the data from your table, and you can select like certain columns, or you can select just one column. And we are going to do also another examples with these operators that I've discussed earlier in the theoretical videos, okay, and we are going to use it with the logical operators. So this is basically it. So select actually is one of the most or widely used queries in MySQL, and it has a lot of tricks, and you use it a lot in your applications. So you have to bear on me with this one. So you have to bear with me on this one, sorry. So basically, let's do some examples. So we only have right here only two tables. We have one with data, which is users. Right here only has like two pieces of data, or two rows right here, and the second one, it doesn't have any data inside it. Okay, so basically we are going to use this one right over here. So if we go and actually try to select data with this one, so I'm going just select data, just write in select all from, and write in your table right here that you want to select the data from, and of course we're going to write users. So if we go ahead and click on go, now it selects all the data from our table, or from that table. If you're curious about these hyphens right here, these hyphens right here for just commenting out these lines, and it's just a one line comment. Okay, these ones, this right here is just for the multi-line comment, and the hyphens for the one line comment. Okay, so this is how you select data this is how you select all the data from that table. So if we try out blogs, of course it doesn't have any data inside it, so we'll just return nothing, as as you see right here. So let me comment this out, and now to the second one, which I'll show you how to select columns from the table. So write in select, and you can write the column name, let's say password from, and the table name, which of course is users. So I go ahead and click on go, and now it selects only that column from this table. Now of course I can add one more, I can add as many as I want. Let's say this one is ID, go ahead and click go. Now it selects ID, and of course it has like an order. We write in password first, so it shows first, and second ID, so it shows the second one as ID. And of course if we go ahead and write blogs right here, it would give us an error, right, as you might see here, unknown column password in field list. Of course, because we don't actually have like the password and the ID columns in this blog table, we have them like in the users table. Okay, so this is basically it. You can of course add as many as you want. Let me just try one more. Let's say username. Go ahead and click on this. Now it shows just shows out the user name right there. So this is it for the select columns. And now we go to another interesting one, which is the SQL comparison operators. And now to the equal, not equal, greater than or less than, we are going to do like a couple of examples with them. So if I go ahead and select, let's say ID from users. Okay, now if I want to set some value with this one, with this equal sign, I need to use where, because I actually want to set some kind of statement. I want like the username with the ID that equals 1, so I have to use where, and this is where you use some condition. So this one is where the ID, let's say, equals 2. So if we go ahead and click on go, now it shows the ID 2. Of course I can do this with like the star, the star or the asterisk and click on go, and now it shows the whole row of this ID2 right here. Okay, and you can also use like you can use your username, and of course you have to set the data that you want, and it makes everything just dynamic. Of course you can use, you know, the email, and you have to set that that one right over here. And of course if I type in that some data that doesn't exist because we don't have like the ID3 right here, let me try it out for you. And now it doesn't actually show anything because we don't have any kind of data with the ID3. Okay, so if I go ahead and now try not equal, right there, not equal 1, and I click on go, and now it shows of course the 2 because that's the only piece of data that we have, you know, with the ID which is not 1. If I try on 2 right there, click on go, and now it shows 1. Okay, so if I try, let me try the ID is bigger than 2. If I click on go, and of course it shows nothing because we only have like 1 and 2 rows. If I make this as 1, it will of course show 2 right here. So you can see how this easy and dynamic it is. It's just that easy. Okay, so now we go to the last one, which is of course the logical operators. And of course these are int and or, and we also have to use some kind of conditions, some kind of condition, just, you know, to get some data with and or of course we will get some, you know, we'll get some error. So let me try on select all from users where, let's say, ID equals 1 and the ID equals 2. So let's just say that what that will give us, and now it gives us nothing. Sorry about that, boss. So actually and right here will return nothing. Okay, but if we actually go ahead and return this to username and try on, like, let's say the username right here, it will actually return that row right over here. Okay, so it has to be like when using where the both you know, the both conditions right here has to be right, okay, or has to be true. None you know, can be if one of them is not true, you know, it will just return nothing. Okay, so if we try on also or, let me just copy this real quick, or, you know, let me try this with the ID equals 2. Go ahead and click on go, and now it returns both, you know, of these tables right here. Okay, so this is basically it for the logical operators, the comparison operators. So you know, just try to do you know, just play with it a little bit, you will get the hang of it. You know, every time you just try it on, you will get like you'll get some new insights from these things right here. So just to recap on and or and like both of these conditions right here has to be true for and to return some result, and for or only one of them, if you know, if one of them is right, or will return you know, results. It doesn't have to be like the two of them are true. Only one is enough for or. Okay, and for the comparison operators, just play with it a little bit. It's really easy and simple and clear. So this is it for this one, and yeah, thanks. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in this one we are going to talk about order by. Okay, an order by is basically just an SQL keyword, or a MySQL just keyword that sorts your data by a certain column, okay, in a descending or ascending way. So this basically it. So I actually created this SQL query right here. Just I inserted some data in the blogs because I would just like to work with this table in this video. Okay, so if you click on go after, just pause the video and write this one, you can see right here that now our data is inserted in the table blocks. And you might notice that we can actually this field right here, or this column, or these cells in this column right here are clickable, and that's because that's of course because the foreign keys. Okay, now if we can click on this one, it takes us to the users right here, the table users is over here, and the ID one. Okay, and if you click on 2, now gets you back to this one right over here with the ID 2. So this is just a hint what foreign keys are that we created in the last video, and of course I want to just work with this table just a little bit. Okay, so now if we go back, if I just let me just comment this one. Now if I go ahead and type in select all from blogs order by, and now we can choose some column, and let's say we choose the ID. If we go ahead and click on go, and now it's it's by default in an ascending way. You can see right here 1 2 3 4. If we go ahead and order by ID and type in ascending, which is just a short for ESC, which is just a short for ascending. If we click on go, you can see right here, of course we get the same results. If we go ahead and change this to descending, you can go ahead and click on go, and you can see right here that we have now the records in a descending way. And of course you can choose any, like this column, you can change it right here, it's dynamic. We go ahead and choose user ID, you go ahead and click on go. Now it gets us the records in a descending way, just like that. Okay, and of course we can use this on users right here. If I go ahead and choose the ID for this one, click on go, and now it gets us the users table in a descending way. And of course you can specify this whatever columns you want. Let's say user ID, username and email. Click on go, and now you can see over here that we got them in a descending way. So you can see it's extremely easy. All you have to do is just play with it a little bit, and you can get whatever data you want with them. So this is basically it for order by, and see you in the next one. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in this one we are going to talk about group by, which is another SQL or MySQL class to arrange data or to sort data. But the difference between order by and group by, that group by actually just groups, you know, identical data, okay, by some certain, you know, by some certain function, by some certain MySQL functions, like summation or, you know, average or count. And in this one we are going to use count. Okay, so this is basically it. So group by just groups identical data based on a select statement and, you know, a MySQL function. So we are going to talk, you know, we're going to take a look at some example right here. But before we do that, I just want to let you know that I created this table right here, which is cats, which stands for category. I have like an ID with an integer with 2 allocations, and it's a primary key, and it's not null, and it's auto increment. Okay, so this will give me just a chance to introduce you that you can actually set your primary key while, you know, doing your you know, creating your table this way. Okay, you can just write it right here and it will set this ID to a primary key. So now, as I said, this one is over here is just a primary key, which is not null, and it's auto increment. Okay, and what auto increment basically means that this table right here will be incremented, and we will not need, you know, to insert the ID or the ID just like we insert the name right here. This one will be inserted automatically. Okay, so just I created this table right here, and now I just inserted some data right here in the name column right here. Okay, and of course, as I said, we don't now need to insert the ID because it will be just inserted, you know, automatically. So now just, you know, pause the video and just create those or write those, you know, and click on go, and just will show up right here. Your table will show up right here. I already have it right here, so you can see here that the ID is just created 1 2 3, and of course will be 4 5, and it will just continue forever, and the name is just right here. So just some dummy text, you know, nothing big. And you know, just for the sake of you know, trying this example, we also need some, you know, in our blogs we need to create some other column. You know, let me go over here and I'll just create it, and I'll just create it like manually. Let's go right here. So you can just call it cat name over here, and I'll set it to a varchar, and let me set it to 20 and click on save. And now you got yourself a category name right there. And yeah, we're doing a lot just for the sake of trying an example, but I just want to show you, you know, just an example. I could use this one right over here, the user ID, but I would just want to show you like a real world you know, example. So let me just you know, this one should be like a foreign key, you know, for this one right here, for the name right here, you know, or just a relationship, not a foreign key, just a, you know, a join relationship, which we'll talk about, you know, earlier, you know, or sorry, later in these videos. So if we insert right here PHP, if we insert on, of course, GS, and this one GS, and in this one Ruby, and now we've inserted the, you know, the 4 results right here in the category name. And now if we go back, and now we can start just by writing our group by query right here. So if I go ahead, of course, as I said, it's used with select. Of course, if you want to group your data, you have to select them first before that. So if we just said select all, of from and the blogs table, group by, and now we can choose which columns that we want to group by. And of course we want to group by this category name right here in this in this table, category name, just like that. Okay. So if we go ahead and try this one out, and of course we just get our data normally like that, but we want to actually let's say we want to count, like to count how many records right here have like JavaScript, and how many records have PHP, and how many records just have Ruby right here. So if we can do that with the count that I showed you in the in the last videos, count, and we need to just set these parentheses around the asterisk. And of course we can specify some other tables in the blogs, some other columns in the blogs table, and we go and to just choose title and body and body. Okay, so if we go ahead and click on go, and you can see right here that we have like two, you know what, let me just also get the category name right there. Just to explain things a little bit. And now you can see over here that we now have like some category, the category names right here, and the number of records that this one have. So we can actually see that JavaScript has only 2 rows, and PHP has only 1, and Ruby has only 1. And if we actually go ahead and tweak this, let's say this one also will be JavaScript, and if we now go ahead and run this again, and you can see right here that JavaScript now has 3 and PHP has only 1. And let me let me just go ahead and change this to PHP, and we go ahead and click on go. Now we only have just JavaScript 2 and PHP 2. So this is how you actually use group by. It's used with the select the select clause or the select keyword and the count function right here. And of course you can use summation, average, and all of that, but this is just a little example right there. So just may be weird that I created those just for the sake of testing this one, that I actually created another table and I did not operate on it, but I just want to show you like some stuff that you can add right here, like the primary key and the auto increment. It's really important to just add to know those in MySQL. And of course I got the category name. I just wouldn't just create this one and not actually show you some example of a category right here. So this is basically it for group by, and see you in the next video. Hello guys, and what's up? So in this one we are going to talk about alters. And alter is basically just a command to modify update or delete things in your table or columns. And in the next couple of videos we are just going to use them with columns. So basically if I forgot let's say to add like a date or a created add a column in blogs, and I want to just modify it and add this column, I can actually use alters. So this is basically it. So go ahead and write with me, alter table and the table name, which is blogs. We can say add column, and the column name we want to add, let's say this one's going to be created add. And let me try and run this out. If I go ahead, yes, of course, let me just add some data type right here, and let me just try and timestamp. Click on go, and now our MySQL query just worked just fine. And if I go ahead and press on on browse, you can see right here that's got updated just right here with created add with a timestamp, created a column with a timestamp data type. Okay, but what if we actually don't want this one and we want to remove it? We can just do this really simple. Let me comment this out. And if I go ahead and if I need to copy it. Okay, now all I'm going to just change is drop column, sorry, created add. And now if I go ahead and click on go, timestamp, maybe we don't need this one. I'll go ahead and click on go, and now our query just worked. So if I go ahead and click on browse, now you can see are we actually in the blogs table? Yeah, in the blogs table right here, you can see that's actually gone. So this is basically what alters are. You just modify or change things in your columns or tables. So this is basically it, and see you on the next one. Hello guys, and what's going on? So this one should be really easy, and it's all about aliases. Okay, so alias is just a fake temporary name you give your columns, just when you try to extract some data from your database, or just usually it's just a fake name for your fake temporary name for your columns. And why you might use it, let's say you have like a long complex name for for some column, and you want to use just a shorter one in your query, so you use aliases. Okay, so this is basically it with aliases. So if we go ahead and try to select some data, let's say from the blogs table, select, let's say, title from blogs, like that. So if we go ahead and click on go, and you can see right here that we got all the titles from that table right here. And if we now, let's say, we need to use our aliases, let's say we can add as, which is an alias, just a short for alias. And now we can try to add our let's say our alias or our fake name right here after this as right here. So if we go ahead and click on go, you can see now that we got the name over here. And yeah, the name is just temporary, it's not a permanent name, or the name doesn't actually change in your table. If we go back to the blogs table and we refresh, you can still have your name just right here. It's just a temporary name, it's nothing big, just to reduce the to reduce or to improve the writing of your query. And of course we can use another one right here after this comma. Let's say the body as let's say bod, right, like that. You can just choose just any silly names you want. If we go ahead and click on this one, and you can see right here we got the next one right over here. So this basically it. You will find it also in some programming languages. I use it myself in PHP. So this is how you actually use aliases, and the best scenario to use aliases, or the best use case, test case, is actually with joins, okay, which we'll get into in the next couple of videos. So this is it for this one, and I see you in the next video. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in this one we are going to talk about some interesting stuff with MySQL, which is all about joins. Okay, so what are basically joins? A join is just a query that combines two tables together. Sometimes in your SQL or your MySQL queries inside your applications, you want some piece of data from two tables together, and yeah, you are going to use this, believe me. Okay, so let's say you have those like two tables right here. This is like a customer table with ID, name, age, address, and salary, and this is like an orders table with OID, date, and customer ID and amount, just some simple columns and some simple dummy data right here. So sometimes let's say you want to just grab the orders by the customers right here, so you are going to join those two tables with the ID and the customer ID right here. So we have like the SQL joins like has a lot of types, like inner join and full join, left join, right join, and self join. They're about like 5 or 6, I guess. And you can actually join more than two tables. You can join 3, 4. It's it's unlimited. You can join any number of tables you want. So this is basically it for joins. It's just a query to join some some tables together to to get some certain piece of data. So basically, when we try to join these two, customers and orders, it will come over here on the ID right here. Let's say we want to join them, and I will show you all about this in just a second. Let's say we want to join the ID and the customer ID right here, and of course these two are the two columns that we are going to use to join the tables, of course, because they have similar values right here inside them, and of course you want to join the similar ones once the query finds some similarities between the two values of the two columns. It will grab the rows from the two tables you want. Okay, it will just grab the data once the two values right here, or the matched pairs, are satisfied. So this is basically it. Now if we go ahead and just let me just delete this, and now we are going to join like our two tables, the users table right here. We go ahead, you can see that we have actually, let's join the blogs because it has more data. They have more data inside them. So let's just join the categories and let's say the blogs table right here. So if we're going to join them, we can join them using the name and the category name right here. Of course, you can use joins with numeric or character values. Okay, it doesn't actually matter. So if we go ahead and try over here, let's say select all from cats. So this is our first table, and a comma, and the second table, which is blogs. And now to our inner join, or a join. You can a join is just an inner join, but when you will create your left or right joins, you will have to write left or right. So we can actually write in join, or we can write inner join like that. They are basically the same things. So now we write our join right here. We need the two columns that will actually that we will actually use, or that have the matched pairs or the matched data inside them. So the first one is categories. Now we can write in cats dot name, and now it equals blogs dot cats name, just like that. Now our query is basically done. So if we go ahead and click on go, you can see that we actually have an error right here. So yeah, the right syntax near cats. Now let's go back and see what's going on. Blogs dot cats name. Let's just check for, actually it's cat name, not cat's name. So if we go back and go now, we also have like another error, blogs dot name. So let me just go back a second. So we have actually made a horrible mistake. So what the query should look like this. We must remove those, select all from cats, inner join, and now to the second, oh okay, so now to the second table right there. So it's blogs on, and that's basically it. So select all. Of course you can actually just specify whatever columns you want from the two tables right here, and I'm going to I'm going to use the asterisk for the first query, and I'm going to change this later. So select all from, and your first table, and inner join this this piece, this clause right here that it actually refers to the inner join itself, and the second table on, and on expects like two columns right there that have the actual matched pairs or the matched data inside them. So we should try this out, and yeah, it actually gives us our data right here. So if I actually go ahead and let me I will get just the cats dot name just to clarify what's going on, and the blogs dot cat name. And as you may notice that we actually used our tables before we write our columns right here, because if we write one of them without the actual table, it will just give us an error. So you have to actually write those tables before you write your columns right here, and this is where like the aliases comes to place. We are going to use them, but let me go back over here and click on go, and you can see now that we only got the matched pairs. We got the names that have the PHP and PHP, and the JavaScript right here. So if we go ahead and actually grab, like, let's say blogs dot title and blogs dot body, go ahead and click on go. You can see right here that we actually got the titles and the bodies of these two matched pairs right here. And of course you can grab the IDs, you can grab anything you want, but we only got the matched pairs on the category name on the cats table, and on the column name on the categories, sorry, on the category name or cat name in the blogs, and the name in the category table right here. And if we actually go back, and you actually noticed that we didn't get the Ruby one right here, right in this category, but because it doesn't actually has any matches right here. But if we change one of this JavaScript to Ruby, and now we go back over here and run our query again, you can see that we actually got one Ruby right there, because of course we just changed this one to Ruby right here. So this is basically our joins. And of course, if you want, if you want to use, let's say in the titles blogs right here, you can use your aliases, let's say as title right here, click on go, and now you can notice that we got the title right here. Okay, so of course you can change or tweak anything you want, and this is basically joins. And of course you can just remove this and it will be the same. An inner join is just a join, so let me verify that, and you can see right here that we got our data in our values right there. So this is basically it. Yeah, it might sound a little complex at first, but believe me, this is really important, and you're going to use this in almost every application you use. So this is basically it, and see you on the next one. Hello ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? So in this one we are going to talk about left and right joins. So in the last video I've talked a bit about inner joins or joins, and the main point of an inner join as I said, that's actually joins two tables together and get only the matched pairs, and get only the values or the rows with the matched pairs, like from two columns, just like this over here. And the difference between left and right, the difference between, let's say, an inner join and a left join, that's actually the left join will get every single data from the left table, which is right here. The left table is going to be the table after from, and of course the left join will get every single data from this, even if it doesn't have any matches with the right table, which is the table after the join, right here. So the main difference is inner joins just gets only the data with the matched pairs from two columns, and the left table gets every single data from the left table right here, which is after from, even if it doesn't have any matches. And of course it will get the matched pairs and every single data from the left table right here. And the right table, of course, sounds like the left table. It will get every single data from the right table, which is after join right here, and of course it will get also the matched pairs. So this is basically it, and they're really similar when you try to write them. And I'm not going to copy this one because I want you to to write it. Just try to write it yourself, and don't copy it, and don't copy it and change it, because just get your hands going with it so you can write it easier every time. Okay, so if we go ahead, and of course we are going to use the same table. Select, let's say, cats, let's go with all, just for starters. Okay, select all from, and now we are going for our left table from let's say cats. So now left join, and our right table, which is blogs, which is the table, of course, after the join right here. Okay, whatever join that is. On now we are writing our pairs, our matched columns that have like our columns, sorry, that have the matched pairs on cats dot name equals blogs dot cat name. Okay, if we go ahead and Congo, just will make sure that everything is working just fine, and you can see over here that's worked just fine. It actually give us the same values right here, because we in the two tables we have all the pairs are actually matched. If this is like what this is the right table, if we go to the cats table, which is the left table, of course every like value right here in the name, it has like its own value right here. It has its own match right here. If we try and let's say change this one, let's say to C#. Okay, if we go ahead and try to extract this one, and now it should get the C#, even it should get this value actually, which is C#, even if it doesn't have any match right here, because this is of course the right table. We go ahead and try this one more, and you can see right here that we have our C# value right here, despite the fact that it actually doesn't have the blogs right here doesn't have any C# in the cat's name, but we are using a left join, and the table cats right here is the left table, so it will get this data no matter no matter what no matter what happens, it will get every single value right here. If we try to insert some other row in this one, let me insert just real quick manually. Let me choose another programming language. Let's say C++ right here. Click on go. Now it's all done. You can see, of course, we have no C++ values in the cat name. If we go ahead and just click go right here, and now you can see that we have the C++ value, even if it doesn't have any matches. So if I go ahead, let me just reduce this, so like cats dot name and cat name. Of course we need, yeah, you don't actually need it. Maybe I said something different in the last video, but you don't actually need the table right here. And let me get some IDs. Let's say cats dot ID and blogs dot ID. So if we go ahead and click on go, you can see that over here that we got null values, because it doesn't have any matched pairs in the category name or even the ID right here. And this ID is the ID of the you know what, let me grab this one just to not confuse you. This one is category cats.id as category ID, and this one as blogs.id right here. This one is blogs. So if you go ahead and click on go, and you can see right here, we can see that the category name, which is in the right table, doesn't have any matches, just as I said earlier right here. So it give us just null, which is actually nothing. Okay, there is no value right there. and in the category ID we of course have the 3 and 4 values right here in this one, and in the blocks ID we don't have any actual matches right here, okay, because it only gets the only 3 matched values, which is TS, PHP and PHP, and those doesn't have any matched values. So this is basically the left join. If we try and copy this just real quick, and of course if you want to write it from scratch, I will just make a change because the video maybe got too long. Right there, and if we change this, so like, you know, right table, sorry, right join, not right table. And now if we go ahead and click on go, you can see over here that in the name table we got only one null. If we actually try and analyze this one more, so as I said, after from, this is the left table, and after the join, this is the right table. So the right join, all it's going to do is going to check for the matched values from those 2 columns right here, and of course it listed the 3 of them right there, as you know, as in the left join and as in the inner join, and it will also fetch every data, every possible data in this blocks table right here. And of course it got us our last one, which is, you know, the category name right here. And of course we don't have any matched names in the category names right here, or in the cat's name right here. So it got the Ruby from this one. If we actually try and insert some other data right here, let's say let's switch this as 5, and let's say this one is going to be like let's choose let's say C, just body 5, and user ID, let's say we have 2. And yeah, these are just, you know, the result of the foreign key. You can actually specify anything like right now, and this is supposed to be like right over here in the cat's name, and this one is going to be title 5. We go ahead and click on go. You can see over here that's done, one row inserted, and now we have one C right here. If we go ahead and run this one more, we can look that we actually have this record right here in the cat name in the blogs right here, because it's the right table, and our query, which is a right join query, will fetch every single data from this right table right here, even if it doesn't have any matches. So this should be it for this one, and sorry the video was too long, but as you can see it's quite extensive, but once you get with it, you know, it gets really simple with you. So this is basically it for this one, and see you in the next video. So now we are gonna talk about wildcards. Alright, and I have this database right here, it's called to-dos. Okay, I will give you this in the resources. Just look at the files resource in the course and you will find this database right here, or you can just pause the video and, you know, write this down, but I will leave it anyway. Alright, so what are wildcards now? Basically, a wildcard is a pattern that you want to find in your data. Alright, so if you like, if you are on Facebook, YouTube, or actually a lot of websites, most websites have a search function. So this is basically what you're gonna use if you're gonna do some kind of search box in your in your applications. Okay, you're gonna, like, the user will come in and just try to type some kind of pattern right over here, and you want to find your data. Okay, and this is when you are gonna use the wildcards. Okay, it's just a specific pattern that you will go with. All right, so how to basically use a wildcard? A wildcard is used with this keyword down here, which is the like keyword, and it's used in a where clause. All right, so basically you're gonna write your own query, and then you're gonna do a where clause, and after the where clause you're going to do a like keyword, and then you're gonna specify your pattern. All right, so I'm actually going to show you this, and actually I have a couple of patterns, and in this video we're gonna take an example with the percentage pattern down here. All right, so basically, as I showed you, I have this data right down here. If I go ahead and start with our first pattern or our first query, let's say select all from tasks, which is the name of the table down here, where name, which is the column that we want to get our data from, like, and this is when we are going to specify our pattern down here between these samples down here. All right, and we want to specify a pattern. Let's say that we want to get every string from this, or every data from this, that starts with a B in it. All right, so all we're gonna do is just type in the B and then our percentage sign, and that means that it will get this query down here, it will get every possible piece of data that starts with a B and then ends with anything else. All right, but it only have to start with a P. All right, so if we go ahead and click go, you can see that right here we have these 3 pieces of data that every and each one of them starts with a P. If we can go down here, yeah, we are gonna see praying, playing chess, and programming. Okay, and these 3 are down here. All right, so this is basically how it works, and of course we can do some more. Let's write it down from scratch. Maybe I will just comment this down, comment this out. Select, we're gonna type one more example, select all from tasks where name, like, let's say that we want to get every possible string, maybe let's say that ends with an A, let's say an A like this. All right, so we're gonna type in that percentage sample first and then the just like this. Okay, so we will get everything, any possible piece of data that starts with anything but ends with an E. All right, so go ahead and click go, and see that we got 2 or more pieces of data down here. All right, so yeah, this is it's really simple. This is how it works. Okay, we can do another pattern. We can just do this pattern right here, and this will get anything that has like a specific pattern between those 2 down here. Maybe we will do let's say, of course, if you did not get any pattern right, it will give you nothing. All right, so maybe you can do an N maybe. And as you can see right here, that gives us everything, because maybe we have the letter N in every piece of data that we have down here, so it gives us everything. All right, we can specify like ing maybe, and go. You can see that we are getting everything that contains ing Alright, so yeah, this is basically it, and see you in the next video. So now we can go ahead and go to our next sign, which is the underscore sign. Okay, and it's pretty simple, and there is actually something that I did not tell you in the last lesson, which is this sign right here, which is the percentage sign. Sign represents one or more characters. Okay, unlike the underscore sign, which represents only one character. Alright, and basically, as I said, it only represents one character, and everything will be cleared out once we do our, our example down here. So select all from tasks where, let's say, name, like, and here we are gonna do our underscore sign. Let's say we wanna like pick anything down here. Maybe we'll pick this name or this piece of data down here. Let's say we want to get the sleeping, and okay, we are gonna just remove the s, and this will represent the s because it only represents one character. Okay, one sign represents one character, but this one right here, as we did in the last lesson, we did a couple of examples with it. It represents a whole lot of character. Okay, so basically, if we click on go, you can see that right here we're getting this piece of data, only this piece of data down here. And of course, we can do this with more, with more examples down here. Let's see, let's try another time. And maybe we'll remove this and go. And as you can see that right here, it's not giving us any data, which I'm not sure why. Maybe let's try it in another place, maybe down here in the last, and let's go. And as you can see, it's not giving us any piece of data again. And you can see that right here it's giving us this bit of data. Maybe we need to do some kind of space down here. Alright, so yeah, this basically it. You can do it, you can just do it anywhere in the string. Maybe we will remove this, and again it's giving us the same piece of data down here. So yeah, this basically, these are like the most used ones. Maybe you will use like this one like more than anything else. Now let's go ahead and just do both of them at the same time. We will get a string that starts with anything, and then the r, and then only one single character, whatever the character is, and then this string, the receive string, is down here. Well, let's go. You can see that right here it's actually giving us this piece of data that we want. Alright, so guys, this is it for this video, and thanks for watching. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in this one we are going to start creating our to-dos app, just a simple app to practice what we've learned in this course. Okay, so if I go back to my htdocs folder and go over there and start creating a file, let's call it to-dos. And if I go ahead, I now want to create, just a file for the connection. Let's call it connect.php. Yes. Okay, I did something wrong. Let me just adjust it. Okay, and let me bring the whole thing in my editor right here. So now we want to connect to our database, and I will create the database later. Let me try catch logs. Okay, and I'm going to create my connection, which is going to be no BDO, and now I need the four main variables for connecting to our database, which is the host, which is of course local host, and now the second one, which is the DB name. Let me call it just to those. You can call it whatever you want, and the user, which is root, and the password, and of course I don't have one, so it would just be empty like that. Okay, so now we need to attach our stuff right over here. Here we want three parameters. Now the first one, we need to specify our database driver, which is going to be MySQL, and the second one, which is going to be the host, which equals host, and we need a semicolon to separate this, and the DB name, which is equals the DB name. And this is basically it for the first parameter. The second parameter is going to be user, and the last one is going to be base. Okay, now I need to do my my attribute, my error mode attribute. Now I need my connection and set attribute and BDO, and the scope resolution sign, and now ERR mode, which is the attribute mode, and I'm going to choose the error mode of exception. I need now my BDO, of course, and the scope resolution, and ARR mode, and I need the exception. Okay, so this should be it. Now to the catch, I need my BDO exception. BDO exception. Okay, and I need my property right over here, or my object, sorry, and I need to echo out a message, let's say error is, and I'm going to concatenate my object and get the message out of this statement. Okay, and trigger my function right over here. So this should be it. Now I'm going to create my database to those. This script now is over. If I go over here and just go to the server and create a new, let me create a new database right from here, and this is going to be to those. Let me now create tasks table, and should have an ID, the task name, and let's say the date. Okay, so we need only 3, and now the ID, let me set this to integer. Okay, that's 2, and now we need to make it auto increment, and this will set it to primary, and the name of the task, and right over here, well, let's make this car, and this one, let's set it to 200, and this will be created at which is going to be the time stamp, you know, and let's make it a default. Let's give it a default value of current time stamp. Okay, so now if I click on save, you can see now that we have our table right here is all set. So now if I go to my folder, which is to-dos dot slash nation.php, and see if I have any errors. Now I don't have any errors in my file. The connection is all set. So this is basically it for this one. Now we're setting up just a connection. In the next one, we are going to use Bootstrap, which is a CSS framework, and we are going to pull out some designs and creating our form right here and inserting the data. Okay, so this should be it. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in this one I went ahead and just put out my design, my HTML document right here. I created a file, I named it index.php, and I just put the links to the Bootstrap CDN, and I have a CSS style sheet right over there. I just created a design, and I have the body, and here is I have a form, and I have a form with only one input and a button right here, and I have a table right here, and I have my CDN links right here, the jQuery and the Bootstrap CDN link. I actually don't need this, but let's just leave it out for now. So I only have 3 files right over here. Okay, I just wanted to save you some time. So now if I go to my browser, and of course I will leave all of these files in the resources. If I now refresh, and now I have my my form right here, and I have my table, and this should be obvious when I type in or I insert data right here. It should appear right here right away. Of course. Okay, so let me now just start my PHP so I can create the records. So now, well, of course I need to end this. So right over here we have a form. We are gonna give it a method of post. Of course, we need to post data to the server, and we are going to choose the action to go to the index file, which is the same page, index.php, and this should do it for the form. If I go over here, now I need to require my connection file. I need to go ahead and require it with my constructor, which is required connection.php, and now I have my connection DNS, or my variable or the data connection. Okay, just to get going with the insert. So now we are going to check if there is any if someone clicks on this button right here, if this button of type submit, if someone clicks on it, we are going to check if there any data that's actually in this input right here, and if there is any data, we will submit the data, and if there is no data, we will go ahead and display a simple message to the user. Okay, so we need a name right here, so we can refer to this in the post request. Let's call this let me see, let's call it my task. Okay, Oh, let me go up here, and now I need to check if there is any post that if there is someone clicks on my button. All I'm going to do is just to create a simple if statement, and let's say if is set post. We are going to use a post request. Of course, you should have some PHP if you're working on this course. My task, and now if there is one, we need to create a variable and assign it to this data that we have. Let's say this will be task equals this data right here, my task, that we are getting from the name in the input field, and we are going to go ahead and create a prepare statement. So the prepare statement, let's call this insert, and the connection, we are going to prepare and insert into our column, which is to-dos. Just, you know, we have a database right here. Okay, now let's go to take a second. We have a database right here. Yeah, the table, which is tasks, not to-dos. Insert into to-dos. We need the name, values, okay, which is this value right here, but we are going to set our handler. Let's call it name, and now we are going to execute this. Let's say insert, use our execute right here. Let's say this is an array, and this one, which is name, it's going for the task right here. Okay, that we are getting. So we have this handler right here, which is name, which is going to be assigned to the task right here. Okay, so the other half is else. If we don't have any data right here, if my task is empty, you know what, let's just leave it like that for now, and we'll get back to it later. So this now should do it. Okay, so if I go back to my page right here and refresh, and if I write something, let's say playing soccer, and click create. Now let's go to our file right over here, and if I browse, you can see that we got our data right over here. Of course, this one is fake, it's not in the database. I did not loop through my data yet, but you know, we have created our data through our form right over here. So this should be it for this one, and in the next one we are going to loop through our data. Hello guys, and what's going on? So in the last one we've learned how to actually insert something using your form, insert your data using your form, and we implemented a prepare statement right over here. But I actually created a couple mistakes, or I made a couple mistakes. One of them is we should actually check on our post using the button right over here, not the actual input. Okay, so we should be setting a name for this. Let's call it submit, and I'm going to take the name and check on the submit button. We should be actually checking on the submit button, not the input. Okay, so this is the first mistake, and now it's done. And if we go back and refresh this right over here, you can see that nothing happens. Now if we try to, let's say, insert something, we go back and refresh this, you can see that it's inserting just fine. Okay, but if I go back and refresh this, and this will take me to the next mistake. If I now go back and refresh this, you can see that we get our an alert right over here that tells us that we're actually sending the data again. If we click on continue, you can see that we're actually inserting the same data again, which of course isn't what we want. So to solve this problem, we are going to take this script right over here, and we are going to create a file. Let's call it insert.php. And now if we go ahead and just save this, and I'll go back to the index, and now I will make the form do the action in the insert, because that's where our backend code is. Now if I go ahead and save this and go back and let me refresh this a couple times. Now if I go ahead and insert, let's say, watching TV, and create, and now it's taken us to the insert.php page, which means that actually it's inserted inside our database right here, and everything just fine. Now if I see over here, if you can see it, here we have our record. So now we want to actually, after we insert this, we need to take it back to the index page, to the index page, sorry, again. So we are gonna go ahead and write our header function, and let's say location, and we are gonna head back to the index.php page. So if we save this and go back again right over here and refresh this, now if we write something programming and create, now it's done. If we go back right over here, and you can see that it's doing it just fine. Okay, so let me go back over here. Now everything just fine, it's just working fine. And in this video I will just want to show you how to actually loop through your data so you can get it all over in this table. Okay, so all we have to do is to just go back to our index and start the PHP tags and require our connection, just we can use the DNS. Okay, if we go back over here and let me say data and the connection, just we can use our query method. We are gonna select all from tasks. Okay, and now this should do it. Now we need to go back to loop to go back to our table so we can loop on our data right over here. Let me do this right over here, and I'm going to use the shorthand syntax, which is actually more cleaner. We go ahead and write our while, and let's say this will be rows equals now let's say data, which is data right over there, which is actually our data right over here, and we need to fetch this. fetch this as an object. I'm going to fetch it as an object, fetch it as whatever you like, associative array, whatever you like, but of course you have to follow along with the code that we actually did in the previous videos. Okay, I'm going to fetch over here as an object. Now it's done. We need to close this, and we need to go right over here, and we need to fetch the ID, php echo our ID. Now I'm going to bring my object right over here, and I'm going to access its property, which is the ID, and in this with a semicolon, just like that. And I'm going to copy this again, and over here we need to access the name. Okay, so now we are finishing our script right over here. So if I refresh this is the name right over here, and this is the ID. And let me go back to my page right over here and refresh this. You can see that we have an error, unexpected end of file. Yeah, of course, we did not end our while. If you're using the shorthand syntax, you should know this more often. Now if I go back and right over here and I refresh this, you can see that we're getting all of our records all over here. If I go ahead and write let's say slaving, if I press create, we can see that we got our last record over here. So this should be it for this video, and in the next one we are going to talk about how to actually delete your records. So see you in the next one. So we're getting up there. So in this one we are going to perform our delete page. Okay, so now we're over here at the link. Now we need to go to this link. When we actually click on it, we need to go to our delete page.php, and of course we need to set a parameter, and let's say this parameter will be delete ID, and it will be equal the actual ID that we have over here, so we can send the ID of this record. So I'm going to write in my PHP echo, and basically like this one, ID rows ID, and I'm going to just close this one as we are right here. So this is basically it. If I now save this and go back to my page, refresh it and go over here, you can see that at the bottom right over here that we're actually getting the ID of this record. Okay, now if I go ahead and create my page, which is delete, and now I need my PHP, I need to require my connection so I can perform my query. You can see that this is getting repetitive, and now I need to delete this one. Now let's say I'm going to call this delete equals the connection, and I need my prepare, and I need delete from posts. Well, yeah, it was not posts, it was tasks, I guess, where ID equals my ID. Okay, and I actually need to check for the get method before we do that. So I need to do my set, and I'm going to check for the get the ID, and I need this one, delete ID. Yeah, it was, let me go back right over here on the index, and it was this one right over here. I need to check for my parameter, and right over here, just to get the ID. So now after I get my ID, I'm going to assign it. Okay, now we are getting the ID right over here, and now we need to execute this query. So all I'm going to do is just go ahead and write my execute. And this all should be easy for you if you actually went through all the course. All of this that we actually did all of this in our course. So now I need to fetch my ID, and this should be with the ID that I grabbed. Okay, so we're basically fetching this handler right over here with the ID that we actually got with a get method right over here, with a get super global. Sorry. So after this, we want to go back to our page, which is the index. Sorry. Application index.php. So this basically should be it. So now if we go back right to our page and refresh this, and if I click on the last one right over here, sleeping, now we can see that the record is deleted from over here. If we go back to our database, you can see if we refresh this, you can see that actually it's gone. Now let me create another one, and this one will be let's say anything, just anything generic. Let's say studying. And now if I click on create, you can see that it's right over here. If I now go ahead and delete it, and let me delete also this one. So if we go back right over here, and you can see that the two of them are actually gone. So this should be it for this lecture. And yeah, you can see how easy this is. You can now create your applications. This is just a simple and easy application to create. You can make this as complicated as you want. You can add a registration page, and you can add your users, anything you want right now. Now you can create any application you can think of. So this is basically it, and yeah, bye. Okay guys, so we're back again, and this one is going to be for the update query. All right, so we have our folder here, and this is all our project, okay, because it's been a while. So this, yeah, everything is working fine down here, and here it is, the application is down here. Okay, maybe like the records down here are maybe a little bit different or whatever, okay, but that's fine. There, okay, everything is working. Here is the database. Here you can see, if I can go ahead and insert something, maybe sleeping, click insert. Now down here we can have our record down here. So everything is working fine, and now we're gonna go ahead and go for the update. So first of all, the update looks a lot like the insert query. Okay, so all what we're gonna do is actually going down here and create another pattern, or another pattern for the update query. all right, like the delete down here, and we are gonna go ahead and map it to another page so we can get in this page a form like this, and we are gonna like do a button like this one down here, and of course the data that we are gonna refer to is gonna be in the form, and if we click update, it will update the data, and then we will go back to the index page down here. Okay, so basically this will all be cleared up when we go ahead and create our logic here. All right, so let's go ahead and just copy this, and then we'll paste it down here. All right, sorry. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just change some things down here. Let's go update, and it's gonna refer to an update page. All right, and this one will be update. Let's give this one maybe as warning. All right, so I don't think that we need to change anything else. Maybe I will change this down here to delete, and we're gonna copy it and make one for update. And let's say if we save this down here and go ahead and refresh, you can see that we have now for every and each one an update button. You can see that down here, if you look down here, when I hover over the button, it's giving us like the update ID, just like the delete down here. So as you can see. All right, so of course if we click on it, it's gonna give us an object not found, because of course we did not create the update page yet. So let's go ahead and create it. Control Shift and S, and we're gonna go ahead update.php. all right, so we have the update page down here. So let's go ahead and create our logic. So basically the first thing that we are gonna do is we need to catch our data of, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do if set, and we're gonna do it and we're gonna do it to a get like this one. So it's basically like the delete down here. Okay, so if we go ahead, we can actually copy all of this, okay, just to not waste your time, and go ahead and do this. And of course we are gonna catch the update button down here, and this one also is gonna be like the update. All right, so if we go down here, we can change this to update. Okay, and this one of course is gonna be for the update down here, but of course we need to catch the data. We're gonna take care of the query second, but of course first we need to catch our data, and this can happen of course by a select query, just like this one down here. So if we go ahead and copy this, we're gonna go ahead to the update. If we go down here, okay, so we have the data, we have our connection down here, and this is what we require down here. And of course we're going to select all from tasks, where this is going to specify what we need, well, what ID or what record with like a specific ID that we need to require, okay, or to get. So where the ID equals the ID down here, which is this one down here. So basically now we have our record down here. Okay, so let's just go ahead and comment all of this. Okay, I'm just gonna do a test, and let's see if we got our ID or not, or our data or not. I'm just gonna do a print R real quick. All right, and we're gonna do it for the data and save. Let's go ahead and refresh now. You can see that down here we have our query right here, so everything is just working fine. And of course here is the ID, and here is the ID down here. All right, so after we catch our data, now we are gonna go ahead and do, so now we are gonna just go ahead and do like a fetch like we did down here in the index. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and like copy all of this. Okay, and we're gonna get it down here. All right. So basically now we're taking all our data and we fetch it so we can use it with this line down here. Okay, we did a fetch object. So now we need like a form so we can show our data and we can submit our data. So if we go ahead and like come over here and pick up the form, I know that we're copying a lot, but we don't need like to write all of this from scratch. Okay, it's already down here. So if we go ahead and go to the input, now we need like to display our data. We're gonna go ahead and write the value down here and go ahead PHP echo, and we have down here the rows. Okay, and we are gonna, from this object, we're gonna select our name. Okay, we're gonna just save this like it's down here. So basically all what we did, we catched our ID down here and we used it, we put it in a variable, or we assigned it to a variable, and with the variable we did like a query. All right, so to catch our whole record. Okay, so we can catch the name from this record, and we did a fetch object down here, and after the fetch we just displayed our data. Okay, so if we save this and go down here and refresh, you can see that we actually we have an error. Okay, so this, and we need to end this with a semicolon down here. We need to save. If we refresh, you can see that down here we have our record right over here. Of course it looks ugly, or okay, but you know, we can turn this around. All right, so now everything is just working fine, and now we need to take care of the query for the update. All right, so let's decomment this one down here, and of course we need an if. If we go ahead to the insert, actually, yeah, let's use this down here. Okay, this will save us some time, and let's delete all of this, and let's use this one. So basically if we did a post submit, we are gonna take this data right here that's in from the input, okay, with the name of my task down here. Okay, when we do a submit, okay, and we are gonna do an insert, and of course it's not an insert, we are gonna do an update. All right, and of course this whole thing will change. We'll go update, all in capital, tasks, which is the name of the table, set name equals this name down here, this flag. All right, where ID equals the ID that we got down here. All right, so everything is cool right now. So basically now we are going to execute it, of course. So basically we're saying that we need to update the tasks, the task table, where we're going to set the name column with this flag to this flag, or to the value of this flag, which is down here when we execute it. Okay, and of course the value comes from the input down here. Okay, so where the ID is equal to the ID to this ID down here. Okay, or down here. Okay, it's all the same. And of course excuse me, and of course we need to change the action to update. and we need like to do this to refer to our ID, PHP echo, and we are gonna echo our ID down here. Alright, so looks fine. I think that we need to refer to the ID too. Yeah, we need to refer to the ID actually. So up ID is equal like we did down here. So if we go ahead, yeah, just like this down here. If we go to the ID, all right. So yeah, now it looks fine. So basically, in the action page, when the action attribute right here, it's gonna refer to this value. All right, so it's gonna refer to this page and then to this value to refer to what would you call it? To what page or to what value that we need to update. All right, so everything looks good, and maybe we need to change this to update. All right, so if we go ahead and save and we refresh this down here, and let's say just we're gonna keep it praying, right? And click update, and now you can see that down here it's praying. Okay, so everything is working fine. Now if we go ahead and let's say studying, let's say studying for college, update, you can see that right down here it's changed that, well, it's changed to studying for college. All right, so if we refresh, and we can see that down here we have changes, and we can add a couple more. Let's say repeat. All right, and insert, and we can see down here you can see it, it's now repeat, and now we can go ahead and update it, repeat once more. All right, and if we click update, you can see that down here, and of course it's changing down here. And of course this looks a bit ugly, so we're gonna do like couple of changes down here. Maybe we're gonna go ahead to the index and like create some kind of footer and header pages. Let's say we're gonna go ahead and take all of this. Let's do a Control X, and we're gonna create file down here, header.php, and we are gonna paste and save, and maybe we're gonna go into the index and do down here PHP include header.php. all right, and maybe we can go down here and take those two and do PHP include we don't need this. Let's say footer.php, right, and save, and let's create this down here, footer.php, and let's do this and save. And now we can also get like those two to the update down here. We can go ahead and just do this. All right, and we can go ahead over here and do this. Header. All right, and save. If we now go ahead this page down here, you can see that everything working fine, and it's just really a simple form at this point. So we can go ahead and go back just like here, or we can go ahead and do the update. So looks like a bit fine. It's at the update page. Okay, so this is it for this one, and see you on the next video.